Welcome to the Collaborative. I'm your host, Sydnee Walker. Today, we are joined by Dr. Ashley Little. Little is the founder and CEO of Ashley Little Enterprises, an all-encompassing brand changing the landscape of digital and print media for current and aspiring entrepreneurs. She is the founder, CEO, best-selling, and visionary author of the HBCU Experience Movement, the first Black-owned company to launch books written and published by prominent HBCU alumni. Through the Biden and Harris administration and Leaders Esteem Christian Bible University, she was awarded with the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. Little is a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Incorporated. She received her undergraduate degree in English from North Carolina A&T State University. She also received her master's degree in leadership and coaching and her doctorate in leadership. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
So first up, we have Sid's This or That ATL edition. I'll ask you a series of questions and you will choose your preference and tell me why. First, we have Chick-fil-A or Zaxby's?
Oh, Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, I love the customer service, love the food. Definitely Chick-fil-A over Zaxby's, yeah.
I'm with you on that. It's actually funny, I just discovered Chick-fil-A had breakfast burritos last week. I posted on TikTok and it went viral, so check it out already.
Yes.
Next, Midtown or Buckhead?
Oh, that's hard because I like both. Midtown, Buckhead, Midtown. I'm always in Midtown. I was in Midtown earlier today. I would say Midtown, more restaurants, more things to do. So I would say Midtown.
I'm the opposite. I'm always in Buckhead.
Yes, but I like them both though.
Yes, definitely. Hawks or Falcons?
Hawks or Falcons? Hawks. I'm actually a Brady fan, so wherever Brady goes, but hey, he's retiring now, so it doesn't matter. But was a strong Patriots fan for a while, but I'll say Hawks. I'll say Hawks over Falcons. They do very well. I enjoy going to some of the Hawks games, so I'll definitely say that.
Yeah, I think I'll go with Hawks too. Tough choice, but I go to more Hawks games.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, Outkast or Migos?
I'm gonna have to go with Outkast. Hey, longevity, they're pretty much legends in the industry, like Migos too, but Outkast definitely had set the tone for, a lot of singers, producers, and all of that.
Good choice.
Yeah.
I actually got that one from a Hawks game. They asked DeJounte Murray, Outkast or Migos, and he said Migos, and everyone just started booing him.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Outkast is a legend. Are you serious?
All right, to kick things off, can you talk about your journey and what motivated you to become an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. I actually started out in the entrepreneur journey when I first wrote my first book called Dear Fear. So I actually wrote my first book, was very vulnerable, told my story, what really pushed me out. Unfortunately, I experienced some different type of discrimination in corporate America, went through some different seasons of that. I actually went through some seasons of depression when I lost my grandfather. So I spoke about a lot of different things that I went through before I was actually pushed out there. And so, after going through those different seasons as a corporate exec, in corporate America, I was actually pushed out and said, hey, I'm in this season for a reason. I'm in this season. It's a positive side to it too. Did it feel good, going through those different seasons that I went through in corporate America? No. It was if it wasn't for God and my mentors, I don't know if I would have really responded the way I did, right? So that's why it's always good to have mentors. It's always good to have people guiding you, along the way on your journey. And so going through those things, it really pushed me out to say, hey, I want to start my own company. I want to create my own wealth. I want to work for myself and I want to own, right? And so that's really what pushed me out. And the name of, I started out in a collaboration book, which is really open doors for me, because when you are an author, you are a speaker. And so I had speaking opportunities turn out of that. I created multiple companies out of that. I got into the media out of that, So a lot of opportunities and connections came out of me sharing my story, right? Being a part of the Dear Fear collaboration. The name of my chapter was Dear Fear, You Can't Have My Power, right? And it really focused on the things that I talked about, right? And I also, just to touch on the depression side, when I was going through that, when I lost my grandfather, who was very close to me in 2011, I actually went through depression for 3 years and nobody knew. And that's why I tell people, people can smile all day, they can look like they're fine, but you just never know people's journey, right? And so no one really knew, right, what I was going through. And so that played a factor into me stepping out there too, wanting to create my own and just, because I was going through that too when I was in those seasons of going through discrimination, right? And so that's really how my journey started. And hey, it's been amazing. I tell everybody, keep going, step out, do it, hey, enjoy the process and enjoy the journey, right? Be persistent, be consistent. Is it gonna always be easy? No, right? But the difference between someone that's successful and someone that's not successful is that they did not give up, right? And so I tell everybody, whatever you want to do it. Sky, there's no limits. I believe in that. There's no limits to what you want to do. You only live once, and just step out there and do it.
I love how you said a lot of opportunities came just from you talking. Like that just goes to show you never know who's listening.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just talking and just working. I tell people, do the work, and everything else will fall into place. Just do the work. Somebody's going to see you. As long as you're consistent and persistent and you do the work and you build genuine relationships. I think a lot of people miss that part though. Relationships are more than currency. I know you hear that all the time, but that's a fact, right? I've got in rooms that money couldn't get me into, that degrees can get me into, right? It was those genuine relationships, but the real success sauce to that, I'll call it sauce, however y'all want to say it. So I say that the real recipe and all of that too, building those relationships are being having a servant mindset. So serving others, right? Having a servant leadership mindset. How can I add value to that next person? Not what can that person do for me? How can I add value to that person, to what they're already doing? That takes a lot of doing research. It takes a lot of actually knowing who you're, how you want to work with them and how you can add value there, right? So I tell anybody, seek out who you want to work with, do your research on them, and find out how you can add value, help them along the way.
So you founded the HBCU Experience Movement, which is the first Black-owned company to launch books written and published by prominent HBCU alumni throughout the world. What was your decision-making process behind starting this company?
Absolutely. I don't know if people are familiar with what happened with Morris Brown College and Bennett College. I don't know if, the accreditation, all the funding. That's really what pushed me. I'm a proud Aggie, of course, Aggie Pride for anybody that heard of ANC. So I'm a proud HBCU grad. So I told myself, hey, when that happened, we got to be the change that we want to see, right? If you look up historical data, we know that the PWIs have their endowments so very much, of course, we know that more than what we're doing at our HBCUs. And so we have to be that change. We have to start giving back, right? And so I wanted to think of a creative way to get more alumni involved. And so I said, hey, let's share our stories. Let's change that narrative. Right? Because we get on TV, we talk, we interview, but we don't document enough. And I said, okay, we're going to create partnerships and endowments. So we create partnerships and endowments with every HBCU. Our goal is to touch all 107, and then also share our stories of how our HBCU experience has molded us into the amazing people that we are today. So every school that we go to, we create an endowment with that school, because we want to continue to help these students stay in school and also create these endowments to help our HBCU stay open that gave us so much. And endowments are critical to that. And we just got featured again today in Black Enterprise. So we're working out here.
Congratulations on the feature.
Yes, thank you.
And recently we've seen HBCUs gain a lot of coverage due to Deion Sanders previously coaching at Jackson State, and also J.R. Smith taking classes and playing golf at
A&T.
Yeah, A&T. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from A&T that has helped you in your career thus far?
I've learned so many, but one of the main ones I've learned is that I can walk into any room and own that room, right? That I deserve to be in the room. So I'm not afraid to walk in any room. That they taught us that at A&T, that you walk in any room, you own the room. You are meant to be there. That's what I've learned.
I love that. Like my mom went to HBCU, and most of my family did. So I just know they wear that with pride as well. So it's great to hear you speak on that as well. So you've built a successful brand and have been able to help many people along the way. What key steps did you take to build your presence within the industry?
Absolutely. Again, I'm gonna go back on the serving part. A lot of my success, probably most of it, came from serving. Anything I wanted to do, because I know you all hear my bio, I'm very multi-talented with different things that I have my hands in, being a serial entrepreneur. But with all of that, serving played a big part, right? I always, when I connected with people, when I wanted to build relationships, I always wanted to serve. I served my way there. I served my way to the top, right? And so as I created my business plans, whether it was building an HBCU experience, whether Ashley Little Enterprise or my media brands, it was always, okay, how can I help the other person? How can I add value? And so a lot of that was just creating tables for others, right? Because if you look at everything that I do, get research on me, you would see that my brands are catered towards reaching back and helping others, also creating tables for others and inviting others to the table. So I would say, yeah, that's pretty much been how I built my brand, serving and building those relationships, because those connections and those doors are very important and essential to the growth of your brand and your company, right? Those relationships. And so I would say that's been a big part of what I do. And of course, I'm not gonna ever forget that you got to do the work too, and you got to execute. Don't forever forget that, but don't forget to build a relationships.
Yeah, I think that servant component is so important and sometimes gets lost in translation because people always want to take, but they forget you have to give as well.
You have to give, right? You have to give and understand that when you see people that are successful, right? They've had processes, right? So that's why I tell everybody, don't ever envy anyone. You don't know their story. You don't know their, you just seeing the end result. Everybody has a story. Oprah has a story, right? Bill Gates, all the major billionaires that we see every day, Michael Jordan, they all went through things, right? But the difference was they didn't give up. So we have to learn to embrace the process. We sometimes we get stuck in that process, and you get a little nervous, yeah, or you might get a little fearful. Everybody's scared, right? But the thing is, you just got to keep pushing and keep going, and stop comparing or worrying about what everybody else thinks, because everybody else's journey is different, and they're going to talk about you whether you do well or whether you're not. So just step out there, do it, and figure it out. I'm one of those people. I take risks, right? I'm gonna jump out there and I'm gonna figure it out later. And so I tell everybody, like, do whatever you want to do. Don't ever let somebody stop you from following your dreams or stepping out there, right? And if you definitely want to grow in this media industry and PR industry, relationships are key, and serving is going to open more doors to you than anything. So always have that servant leadership mindset and you'll be fine.
I love that. And on the topic of relationships, in a previous interview, you said you've learned that everyone can't go, and who you're connected to is essential to your success. In a world where networking is so important, other than being a servant leader, how else can we continue to build and maintain lasting relationships?
Absolutely. Everyone can't go. That's facts, right? I understand that everybody is not supposed to be a part of the overall journey all the time, right? Some people have seasons, right? So we got to remember that too. So when people fall off, don't get upset. I know it's easy too, because you're like, what happened, right? I understand that, hey, when you're growing, new levels bring new devils, right? So understand that, and understand that, hey, everybody's just not able to be a part. And sometimes they cannot even handle the capacity of what you're about to do. So you have to remember that too, the capacity. Everybody can't handle the capacity of what was inside of you. So remember that on that journey. But outside of serving and build a relationship, I would say just executing. Everybody's talking. There's not enough people doing. So take action and execute. Okay. Results. Nobody can fight results. Okay. So stop talking about what you want to do. Stop telling everybody what you want to do, and just do it. Let your results speak for you. Execution is key. Eric Thomas is somebody I look up to very highly. I listen to him every morning. Eric ET, look him up. Very motivational speaker, one of the top motivational speakers in the country. He always talk about the power of executing. Like, nobody can take your results if you could just execute. Like, we just gotta remember to execute.
And transitioning into work-life balance, you have a lot on your plate, and it's always important to take breaks and practice self-care. What are some boundaries you've set that allow you to step away from your work at the end of the week?
That's a good question. I have to give you a real answer on this, because I haven't been the best. I've not always been the best with balance, right? I have to be honest, but I've got better as I continued on my journey. And so what I've learned was to make sure that I take time for me. The first hour of the day, I get up at 4 a.m. every morning, okay? Because I truly believe the earlier you get up, you can get a lot done by 8 o'clock, okay? So I get up at 4 a.m. every day. So that first hour, I'm very, my relationship with God is very important. So I spend time with him, and then I spend time with me, right? That's the first hour. Then after that, I go work out, right? Because our health is our wealth. I can't stress that enough. Okay. Yes, go out there and execute and do whatever you're gonna do, follow your dreams, but make sure you're taking care of your health because you want to be here to enjoy it, right? So health is wealth, do my workout, and then I start on my projects and deadlines that I have. And I always set out every day a to-do list that I want to get done before 10 o'clock each day. And so I start at 4. So really before 10 o'clock, I'm normally have accomplished everything, but I always have that to-do list. And I always believe in, affirmations. So I always write out, what I want to happen, because your words are powerful, right? Right. So I do my affirmations too, because what you speak is what's going to happen. So always speak things that you want to happen.
I'm a morning person as well, so I definitely attest to waking up early and getting your day started. It's the best. And one thing I've learned, I deal with a lot of people on the West Coast, and before with that time difference, a lot of people message me late at night and I'm responding. Now it's like you gotta hit me up during Eastern hours.
Yes, yes.
And lastly, what advice do you have for those who are just starting to learn how to run a business and aspire to be a full-time entrepreneur one day?
I would tell everyone just to get started. I think that's the big key of people that want to, in general, when people want to, go into entrepreneurship and want to start. I think they're always worried about it being perfect. It's never gonna be perfect. It's always gonna be something, you know. So just step out there, do it. Always remember too, and I think a lot of people have to remember this on their journey, that nobody's gonna work harder for your dreams and your vision than you. So even when you're building that team, remember that, hey, you should be the hardest working person, regardless of who's helping and who's not, right? And so I would say, definitely always remember that on the journey too. But definitely the main thing I would tell everybody to do is just get started, and everything else will work out. Like it wasn't perfect for no one. So don't sit here and wait on your $1 billion dream because, hey, you say you don't got the money, or you say you don't have everything together. Nobody had it together. Nobody has. We just went out there and did it. And, we learned along the way. So I would just tell everybody just to get started.
Yeah, thank you for that. I'm sure we can all take that with us, whether we're just getting started or have dreams of starting a business one day. So thank you. Ashley, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it hearing from you. It was so great to hear about your journey and how you developed yourself into this amazing serial entrepreneur. I'm sure everyone took some great gems from you. So thank you so much for your time and advice.
You all can follow me on Facebook at Dr. Ashley Little. I'm on Instagram at _Ashley A. Little, on Instagram at _Ashley A. Little. Also, my website is www.ashleylittlenterprises.com, and my HBCU experience website is www.dhbcuexperiencemovement.com. Thank you all for your time.